Happiness isn't straightforward. Yesterday, contemplations made me see how I'm starting to be bad again. I'm not pretty sure if what I'm feeling is legitimately because of the lack of medicine, since the lack of sleep and apparently the excessive coffee could also play a role in the whole hormone thing. The whole hormone thing. Happiness is just a hormone. If you look at it that way, it seems so easy. All things could definitely influence what made me feel upset yesterday, and it's been so long since I felt this. I could definitely see the importance of maintaining consistency with this one. I stopped taking them for a bit because I don't have the funds right now to get it. You could just ask money from your parents, you might scold me. But as a 20 something year old who should probably get her life together right now, it's hard for me to ask for things. Every text of admitting I need their help feels like the sting of a slash onto my pride. Not to mention the subliminal guilt in between the lines of pahingi ng pera. Admitting your inability to stand on your own. That you can't survive on your own as intended by God. You need to maintain your medication, says my roommate as we walk our way back to our place. If you don't want to do it for yourself, just think about what we would feel. I've never looked at my progress as a communal journey. I don't think about other people when I feel. And so I replied, yeah, I guess I should think about you guys too. They definitely get affected by my sadness in some levels, like how I reply monotonously on their jokes, or how I get offended in the littlest of things, or how I make them worry. I realized yesterday as my roommate and I talked about the most sensitive of things that I began to show my hate for myself again. For the past few months, I have been gratifying myself consistently, like a child that couldn't get enough of chocolate ice cream after the first try. So, when I was saying sorry again for being me, I was taken aback. This feeling, it was so familiar. It was my chocolate ice cream. Yeah, I just think it's a waste of money and effort to buy my meds right now, I replied her. I could just get them when my family and I meet so I don't have to spend money. Seems practical, right? But when you look at it as an abrupt pause on what has been a consistently taken medication, it's a problem. I couldn't seem to convict myself strongly to her of my stance, my guilt. Guilt feels distinct. I feel sorry for having to live this way. Such a nuisance. To have to stabilize myself with these pills because I can't seem to stand with my own feet without feeling sorry for myself. There was a moment a month ago where I thought of how sad that is. Is there something wrong with me? I surveyed some of my closest friends. Is there something wrong with having to be maintained by something man made, such as pills, to keep myself relatively sane? A unanimous no was answered. Relative sanity is just a social construct, says my roommate. You are taking care of yourself, says my mother. You are taking care of yourself in a way that I maintain my high blood pressure by taking medicine. And with that, my dark thoughts about it were grounded and stomped off into non existence. But having to feel this guilt made me think that maybe some part of me doesn't want to admit that I have a problem. So I stopped the pills carelessly and was backed up with a practical reason to help my mom with her current money problems. The first time this thought came to me, I immediately disregarded it because I know in my heart and soul that I don't connive so maliciously. But now, perhaps not actively. For the first week of medical hiatus, I was sleeping for just 3 hours, always waking up at 3 a.m. and couldn't sleep afterwards. Having to sleep with the sun out because of the coffee high during my study sessions. going to the billiards pub so frequently, along with my excessive spending on food and clothing as a form of treat. Everything seems so backed up with reason and practicality, like a conservative Catholic's ramblings of how necessary a God is. Am I that hellish towards myself? I have to build my toxicity on necessity. I don't know. I don't know. And as someone who derives pleasure on knowing, not knowing scares me. I was so ecstatic when I was diagnosed, almost proud even, because my hunch was right, because I'm validated. All the toxic things that I put myself into was something that could be explained from where I was put. Psychology. So to think that I would be in denial of it was so foreign to me. But when you look at it as something that invokes guilt, because I have to ask money for it, that I have to bother other people with my inability to be alone, that I have to consequently have to feel sorry for myself. Maybe I really am in denial because I don't want all those things that go with admitting